Good morning, everybody. It is Milt with Beach and Living Like a Boss. Welcome back to the channel. It's April 8th of 2024. I've been away from the tractor porn studio for a bit. I'm taking my master's at DIY at the UYT. I'll show you over here what we've been up to as of late. Not mechanical, more into construction. So let's get you caught up on what's been happening. One of the things I've caught up on is making these raised garden beds for Connie. Her and Phil are coming back, so I had to have them ready. So they're ready for Connie to start her bedding plants. This table here is something I picked up when I picked up the radial arm saw a couple years ago. It's pretty crudely built out of rough cut lumber, etc., etc. But it didn't have anything else to work with to build those raised beds. It was no big deal. I didn't need any kind of a table. So I decided I better, because of future construction things coming up, I'd better mount that radial arm saw in a better place. I've moved the radial arm saw over to the side of the sea can here. Got it mounted on a concrete pad there and mounted into place, and I had to use that rickety table to build some benches so I can slide lumber back and forth and work with it out here. So that took a little bit of time, back and forth, and using the skill saw, really. I couldn't use the radial arm until I got these benches built. Of course, once I got the radial arm up in place, I could use the benches there to cut some lumber, and of course it was started to be rainy. So first thing I did was put some more footings down here, mix some concrete, made this pony wall over here. I got the ladders kind of hung up on it now, just kind of things leaning around, but put that pony wall together with some trusses coming off the main shed over the sea can, and then temporarily, I think you can see on the very top of it, I put some poly, construction poly. I don't know what it is, 1 or 2 mil. It's pretty heavy duty stuff. It's going to be good for the next couple of months for shedding rain. So after we got that built, which was a long time coming, we moved over to the next project, which I will show you in a little bit. So while I was at the UYT taking the Masters in DIY, a couple of interesting things that I learned over the years, I should have known over the years, but I didn't really realize it. I'm not really a guy that got into a lot of carpentry. But one of the things I learned is on these tape measures, the tab here slides back and forth, and you can get a couple of different styles of tapes. One, this tab is rigid, and in like this one, it has a little bit of a stretch to it. And when you compare either one, I don't have the one with the rigid tab on it, but when you compare either one, you have to have this one stretched out so as it'll match up with the one that's pushed in. You know, one's for push measurements, one for pull measurements. Hard to explain, but that's kind of like something I learned. It's if you're building something like I'm building right now, accuracy is not that crazy, but if you're a cabinet maker, it gets to be crazy. Accuracy is number one. So another thing I've learned is I got this 2x8 lined up, ready to go. And what I'm going to do is just share with something else that I've learned. Here, we'll have to pull it back a bit. I got to cut out of this 2x8 10 risers, and they're 30 inches. Oh, and then I lost the end of it. There it is, caught again. And these risers are a total of 30 inches long. If you're going to use something as a pattern, I've learned that on this one here, I will run it under the saw and cut the line, leave the line. But then when you do a pattern with it, like just slide it ahead and cut another 30-inch, you take the line. Just interesting little pointers that one just never knows. Like, you know, lots of experienced carpenters would probably know it, that's for darn sure, but pretty handy darn place to go, the UYT. Okay, I got it lined up, so I'm just going to barely leave that line. And the way I'm doing it, I measure each one with the tape, and I cut each one the same. But if you wanted to, you could use the very first one that you cut for a pattern, but you got to remember to leave the line. I left the line, so I'm going to have to take another cut and just shave off a little bit to take the line out. Another thing I've learned or became aware of when I was attending the YouTube university is that the trash can is used in the office, whereas when you make a lot of paper mistakes, you're either making a mistake or you're caught stealing from the company or whatever, you just send your paperwork through the shredder. But working with wood, all crimes and mistakes just go to the fire pit. This fire has been burning for a steady 2 or 3 days, that's for sure. Okay, we're done showing off at the radial arm saw. We're just carrying our last 2 risers over here to the project at hand, and what's coming up here is the stairway to heaven. And before it was just a couple of logs with some steps cut in it. It's pretty rickety. Nobody that came to visit me wanted to go up and down it. They'd always walk down the slope. So I had to pull all that out of there, and I decided to have to learn myself how to build a flight of stairs. So here we got her. We're going to take this down to the bottom and nail these boards up. I don't know if it's going to show up in the camera, but these stairs are still pretty rickety yet, but so far they're holding my weight. I got down to the bottom here. It's not quite ready to be completed, but we can get the bottom 2 risers done. course, the way everything lines up, you run out of nails just as you're trying to show off your air nailing prowess. Just have to load another clip in there. We should be good to go now. Then blow your hat off and everything. Not the first time. Okay, that's all the risers on. I got one tread left, which wisely I used it to form up this here cement landing pad, which I mixed up yesterday. It's set up so I can take that off eventually and put the last tread on there, and then we'll have to build something that extends out here. You know, a couple of old beams or something for steps, or throw some gravel down here to walk up to it. But anyway, we'll take care of that later. Next step is to take the wobbliness out of this staircase, and I'll show you my plan for that. When I put it together, I just put this board down here with an upright just to hold it from bowing when I went up and down it, hold it from bowing too badly. This is a long span, it's 14 feet long, following the slope. So this here adds to a problem here, how to get it supported in the middle. But what I got planned is I got this big old solid piece of fir. Comes from BC Hydro when they replaced a couple of poles nearby. I'm just going to skive out that gravel area there so it's flat. Lay this down in there, sort of like that. Get that in there, and then I'm going to put two uprights, one leaning square on with the stringer down into that beam, and the other one straight up from the stringer into the beam. The one this way is to keep it pushing up against the hill. I don't know if that's up to code or that's what is done, but it wasn't in my master's course in the University of YouTube. So we'll get ourselves leveled out there. I'm not going to film shoveling gravel and whatnot, but I'll get that all in place and then way to go, and then I'll show my end product of a brace this way and upright anchored to the big timber. We'll bring you on back. Okay, we got this upright in here, and I managed to get myself a cross timber here. We'll just nail that in place, and that'll put a bit of a push, one on either side, put a push toward the hill. Hopefully that'll keep it a little bit more stable, a little longer. You're in the road there, Luna. Unless you want to be the star. Well, now that that's in place, let's take a stroll up our staircase, see if it's any more solid than before. So far, I think it's pretty dang solid. Gather up our tools here and we'll go and review our next project coming up. We're not going to finish this up totally here today. It's going to be the end of the staircase project, but it's all solid. You can see there's a little variation down there in the bottom. That's because the first tread, I just nailed it in place. It's in the wrong place. I nailed it in place to give it some stability while I was setting up the runners. But further ahead of the staircase, when it gets into the dirt, I don't know if I'm going to make a ramp way, which I think I probably will. Just make a ramp that veers off a little bit to the left. So you walk up gradually with the ramp and then up onto the stairway to heaven. Take note that the stairway to heaven is 13 steps. Make what you want out of it. Okay, let's go and take a look at the next project. Okay, in behind the house here, I got open area here. There's enough area that I'm going to build a carport, just a beam structure, you know, to park the truck in the wintertime underneath. Shelter sort of a thing. And it's going to double as a outdoor kitchen and shady area there for the guests and whatnot that I have that stops in here, drinking beer and barbecuing and so on and so forth. Over in this corner is where we're going to start. I already got a board nailed to the side of the house, which is true level with the house. The beam structure is not going to be attached to the house. It's going to be a standalone structure. So we're going to start out at 2 feet away from the house, and this is going to be ground zero. Whatever the measurement is down here, I'm going to make the first footing, and then 7 other footings around. There's going to be 4 on each end. I'm going to put 4 footings, but this is ground zero. It's all going to match up with this height here. So anyway, we're not going to get involved with doing anything more with it here today. That's going to be another episode, another video. And we will catch up to you later. Thanks for sticking around. Not many mistakes today. The fire is kind of burnt itself down and just smoldering away there, so things are improving. Not burning so many high crimes and misdemeanors.